Recently, the audit regulator, NFRA, has come out with AQR or Audit Quality Report in the case of IL&FS subsidiary, ITNL. The regulator has gone after the audit firm, SRBC, which is part of Ernst & Young India, and said that the firm did not do what it was supposed to do. The audit quality report also points out certain major factors around conflict of interest and around the management services that the audit firm provided to ITNL. This is said to have huge implications on the audit profession here on, around what services can an audit firm provide to a company and what services they cannot. This could in some way also predict the future of Indian audit firms as well as the foreign multinationals that operate in India through subsidiaries and affiliates. I am Sachin Dave, and I'll take you through the NFRA report, NFRA investigations, and what this exactly means for the audit profession in India. So let us first go into what an audit firm is. An audit firm is basically a chartered accountancy firm that audits the financial statements of a company. A company is required to prepare financial statements, that is profit and loss account, balance sheet, and income and expense statements. The company prepares these statements, and the auditor, which is supposed to be the custodian of public's trust, goes through these accounts and says whether these are right or not. The audit firm, the auditor, is also required to opine or give opinions on certain things that they think are not as per the local or the domestic laws. Many regulators, including NFRA, want audit firms to be fair. At the same time, do not ignore certain risks, which are called going concerns in the auditing language, when they are auditing the companies. As per the Indian regulations, no foreign firm is allowed to operate in India. However, the law does not clearly say which firms are allowed and which are not. The way it works in India is that many firms, multinationals like the Big Four, including Deloitte, PwC, Ernst & Young, and KPMG, operate through their affiliates. That is, they have an umbrella entity under which these audit firms sit. As far as regulations are concerned, they treat these two entities separately, which means that the Big Four in India are allowed to operate. The auditors are the trust keepers of the company, of the public rather, which means they are supposed to raise red flags. They're supposed to point out the discrepancies or the problems that the financial statements have. In the past, many auditors have been accused of not doing so and conniving, or rather ignoring the concerns that they should have raised in the companies. Over the years, since 2008, since the first audit fraud hit India in terms of Satyam, the role of auditors have always been under intense scrutiny. Now, the IL&FS investigations, the IL&FS fraud and the NFRA report brings this whole question of the role of the auditor back to fore. In 2018, IL&FS could not repay loans to certain lenders and banks. This ballooned into a situation where the banks were unable to recover the money and the RBI and the central government had to intervene. It turns out, at least as per the investigation reports, that the firm was only evergreening the loans. That is, they were borrowing from Peter and paying to Paul all the way around. There was no profitability, and the company may have even exaggerated some of the figures in the financial statements.
Continues to mount for the firm as the company defaults on yet another payment. For the third time in a month, the crippled infrastructure company defaulted on interest payments on commercial papers The company said that it will not be able to access commercial paper market for the next 6 months from the date of repayment.
It mentions about various other irregularities pertaining to IFIN. It says that mentions 29 instances where the borrowers, the money that was borrowed by the borrowers were actually utilized by the group companies to repay existing debts.
The government decided that they want thorough investigation in the case. The Enforcement Directorate was asked to look into the matter. Apart from that, the government also formed NFRA. The government wanted that an independent body should be created which would look into audit frauds, which would regulate the auditors and tell them how exactly they are supposed to operate. The NFRA, since 2018, has been looking into the way the auditors have conducted the business in all IL&FS subsidiaries, but essentially, primarily the three subsidiaries, IL&FS, ITNL, and IFIN. Now, the interesting part over here is that three of the top four auditors have been auditing IL&FS, including Deloitte, KPMG, and EY through their affiliates, that is their audit affiliates. The NFRA has come out with 3 AQRs in last 2 years. NFRA essentially says that all the 3 firms did not perform their duty. And that is one of the reasons why IL&FS was able to continue the operations with the alleged fraud. The NFRA specifically said in all the 3 AQRs that the audit firms did not perform the duty because they were also providing something called management services. Essentially, as far as Indian regulations are concerned, auditors cannot provide any other services apart from audit services. However, these regulations are very wishy-washy and there is no straight answer to what services can be provided and what services cannot be provided. After NFRA report has come out, at least 3 of the large firms, including PwC, Deloitte, and Grant Thornton, have gone on record to say that they would not be providing any management services, irrespective of what the law says, to the audit clients. Many of the firms are now are really cautious while they select the clients. This NFRA report has also led to a lot of resignations for the auditors. The auditors do not want to take risks while auditing the companies because they know they can be put behind bars. They can be banned for 8 years. Many of the audit firms have increased their fees because they are unable to subsidize the audit fees through other management services over the years. Government wants that the audit quality should improve. But the question remains whether going after the audit firms the way the government is going after them or the way the regulations have come in is the right way to do so. As of now, the biggest audit firms are either linked to the Big Four or some of the other multinationals in India, as far as the revenues are concerned. However, going ahead, the government wants the Indian audit firms not affiliated to multinationals to grow as well. However, the way things stand today, this is going to be a crucial fight. And not just that, this is going to be a concerning thing of how audit firms should go about doing the business. This is Sachin Dave, Senior Assistant Editor with the Economic Times.